Tibet House was established by His Holiness the Dalai Lama in 1965, serving as the cultural center of His Holiness. It is a center for Tibetan and Buddhist studies located in New Delhi. To give us more information about Tibet House, I have Geshe Dorji Damdul, the director of Tibet House, joining me online. Tashdile Geshe Dorjila, it is lovely having you here with us on Tibettv.
Tashdile.
So, Geshe-la, what is the primary motive of establishing the Tibet House? And what are the programs and activities carried out by the Tibet House to achieve its purpose?
The point was that the Tibetans, after coming to India, and His Holiness felt the need to promote the awareness of Tibetans, the Tibetan culture, and so forth, all related to Tibet. So therefore, it is established. So basically, as for the programs, we run conferences, we organize the exhibitions, then we encourage students to take part in various competitions, essays, and so forth on the topics related to Tibet and Tibetan culture. And also we support the scholars by giving scholarships and, of course, involved with publications. Since 2016, this is a revolution or a new thing that happened to Tibet House, which is we started the Nalanda Master's courses and the Nalanda Diploma course launched by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Yeah, so in a way, like, it's promoting the Tibetan culture and awareness of Tibet to the people of India and the world.
Geshe-la, it is quite unfortunate that even though the Tibetans have been living in India for many years now, there are still so many people who are not aware about the Tibetan identity and the Tibetan cause. Since Tibet House has its own office in India's capital, New Delhi, and have its own museum and library, do you have people from different background and culture visiting? How much are they aware of the Tibetan cause?
So basically, this is very important, what you indicated, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, after coming to exile in India, His Holiness started to become somebody who's loved by the world. And the reputation, his fame, recognition simply flared in the world. So likewise, here in Tibet House, because of the blessings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the great support of the many educated young Indians around Delhi here, we're able to really create the awareness of Tibet, awareness of Tibetan culture more and more, and the support of the Indian government financially, and then the support of the Tibetan friends, Indians, very educated, and the well-off. So they take interest in Tibetan culture, Tibetan Buddhism, philosophy, and they, in fact, take the charge of disseminating awareness of Tibet and Tibetan culture. Interestingly, this year for the Nalanda Diploma course, we have about 700 enrollments from all over the world, over 44 different countries. So this has been growing exponentially. The purpose of Tibet House is accomplished now.
So one of the programs that you have is providing the Nalanda Diploma course and the Masters in Nalanda Buddhist Philosophy. And Geshe-la, you know that His Holiness the Dalai Lama has always been emphasizing on the importance of the Nalanda tradition. So as someone who has been in the Tibet House for a very long time and who has experienced meeting the Indians who come to the center to learn Nalanda studies, what realization do they have before and after completing the course? What kind of impact is the Nalanda course having in the Indian community?
So basically, one thing which is so unique of His Holiness the Dalai Lama is that he wants the people of the world, whoever you are, to become a good human being. Somebody who contributes to the world, not destroy the world. So on this basis, His Holiness is constantly disseminating the concept of universal ethics. So this Nalanda Studies, more than letting people be aware of the Buddhism, it is for the people to let them know about the universal ethics, the need for as to how to take care of one's own family. In the first place, how to take care of oneself with love and affection, more sensibility, interdependency, and to take care of the family, take care of your colleagues at the workplace, and so forth. All these things people learn. We don't really expect, we don't really encourage, and not only that we don't do so, His Holiness, there's a very strict guidelines from His Holiness that Tibet House by no means it should be a center of conversion. If at all some conversion happens, it should they convert the person from anger towards a kind person, from the nonsensible person to a sensible person, loving person, a good citizen. So this is what we can see that the, say, Nalanda Master's course, this is a 5th year running now. And for Nalanda Diploma course, it's always 1 year, and this is the 3rd batch now. The students who completed the Nalanda Diploma course, when they come up with sharing the experiences of the study of Nalanda Studies, they said that now I just start to find the meaning of life, how to be loving and caring towards others, and how not to fight in the street. So this is what I've learned. And they're very interesting anecdote stories, individual stories of the people who took part in this program. Some of them said that I always take hockey stick in my car. And I said, why? Of course, in the traffic, somebody cuts you, then you get out with the hockey stick, and then you fight. And later on, after joining the course, another person said that now this hockey stick does not have any work for the last 3 months. And then if it doesn't have any work, why should I keep it there? And then he discarded it. So he said that, look, Geshe, these are the benefits of the Nalanda studies. And that's very true. Nalanda great masters, 1,000 years ago, they did not really intend to convert people into Buddhists, but they surely want people to be more happy, more compassionate, and to learn how to take care of the family, to care of one's community. So this is the intent as intended by His Holiness, and this is the greatly happening.
Geshe, it's lovely to hear these incidents, how Nalanda Studies is benefiting each and every individual. Anyways, apart from the courses and events related to Tibetan Buddhism, Tibet House also seems to be actively involved in encouraging cross-cultural and interreligious harmony, and also, seeking relation between religion and science. So, Geshe, could you tell us what kind of activities are carried out by the Tibet House in this regard?
This is, again, another very important point. And as, in fact, the way and the manner in which you indicated, the first part of the question is more related to His Holiness's commitment of promoting the human values, and now they're asking about the commitments of His Holiness related to promoting the religious harmony and about the Tibetan cause. So there, as for the religious harmony, that's very true. We try to maintain a very good relationship with all the religious centers, and they invite me, I invite them, and this is how there's such a friendship being built amongst the representatives of the different religions. Number one, we conduct interfaith services in various places, including in Tibet House. And the other thing which is extremely important is the dialogue between the modern science and Buddhist philosophy. So there, we focus on 2 areas. One is the psychology and neuroscience, and the other one is quantum physics, relativity theory versus the philosophy of dependent origination, emptiness. So this is where we are putting effort, and even that, not only in Tibet House, not only with the universities close by Tibet House, we try to encourage this in Bangalore, and in fact, supporting the centers there to join with the universities, join with the institutes there to conduct programs on the convergence and divergence between the modern science and Buddhist philosophy, and also, for example, places like in Assam, in Guwahati, we encourage all these programs happening there as well. So this is something which I think is extremely important. It should not be thought of as a Buddhist contribution. It should be thought of as a contribution from the humanity, that there is a rich culture of philosophy, psychology, which existed since like 1,000 years ago and still so relevant, not only relevant, but it is for the sake of dealing with the emotions, and dealing with the cognitive, how to bring about change in the cognitive thought process to realize the reality deeper than what we are seeing. So that way, these two can be incredibly great instruments for encouraging the promotion of universal ethics in the minds of the today's modern people.
The Communist China is doing everything in their capacity to eliminate the Tibetan culture and sinicize Tibet. So how does preservation of Tibetan culture play an important role in preserving the Tibetan identity?
This is extremely important point. The number one, Tibetan identity. This is very important. The identity, not because that it is a Tibetan identity, it is my identity. Not because of that. It's because that this identity is related to an extremely profound philosophy and psychology and culture. And in fact, let's say the Westerners or the very educated Indians, when they meet with the Tibetans, they see that there's something different in the Tibetans. It's not that our blood is special, that our blood came from the Tibetan plateau. It's all because of the incredibly, the rich philosophy and psychology, the blend or fuse with the good art, which we inherited from the past generations, and which in turn came from India. So this is something which is so precious for the world. Just imagine that if all the citizens of the world, they imbibe this quality of compassion, they imbibe this quality of understanding, interdependence, and warmth, then I can't imagine the world is going to have the kind of conflicts in the name of religion, in the name of the ethnicities, in the name of geographical divisions. I don't see any reason why this should happen. So therefore, this is extremely important. It is not that this is the only culture which can keep the world alive. No, it is one of the good cultures. So why should we exterminate this? And the Communist Chinese, what they're doing, this is purely self-destruction. They cannot think of the world. They only think of themselves a system, a small system, a party system, that's it. They cannot see the world. Whereas the moment they are awakened to see that the world and these two are connected. If you destroy the world, you are destroying yourself. If they realize this, then they'll be awakened to see that the culture that they have been destroying is in fact an incredibly great legacy for the world.
Geshe, what I like so much about the Tibet House is that Tibet House touches upon many aspects when it comes to the preservation of Tibetan identity, be it language, culture, religion, art, music, etc. And like I have said earlier, how His Holiness the Dalai Lama has always been encouraging, especially the Indian people, for the revival of the Nalanda tradition and asking them to practice the Nalanda tradition. And I'm so glad that Tibet House is actually taking that initiative and making that happen. Thank you so much, Geshe, for giving us your time and for speaking to Tibet TV.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next episode of In Conversation with Tibet TV.